G'day guys, back with the Outer Circle, and in this episode of Getting Started in the Horus Heresy, we have the Thousand Suns Part 3. So, interesting one this episode because, well, one of the few occasions where we have all of the characters available to the Legion, so we can actually show all of the characters available to the Legion, which is nice for a change. Normally I just pick the Primarch, put the Primarch up on screen, and then, ta-da, that's what you get. But with other legions, we've been able to get out there, and this is one of the times where it's like, yep, we have more than just the Primarch to look through. So we're going to start with Ahriman today, because he's first up in the book. So Ahriman here is really good, as in really, really good. 3+ on his Adamantium Will is huge, because that means he's going to get a 3+ save against his Perils of the Warp. That means 2/3 of the time, when Perils does happen, which is going to be rare enough for a character of his level, he's probably going to be okay. And if you have Magnus on the battlefield as well, he's going to get +1 to that. So he himself is going to be getting a 2+ save against any psychic wounds that are caused against him, whether it's from Perils of the Warp, or whether it's from other Psykers' attacks. That is really, really good. He also has reach on his weapon, which I like, because it means he can kind of sit back a little bit in the combat and strike with his AP2 at initiative, basically Power Axe, which is, again, good. He has lots of psych abilities. Unfortunately, his psych abilities are the weaker ones. I think probably the most powerful amongst them is he has the Thaumaturgy. I'm still learning how to pronounce that one, so bear with me, which is allowing him to restore a wound on a 5+ on a friendly model. That is pretty good around things like Dreadnoughts, so keep that in the back of your head if you're running Ahriman on the battlefield. And he's not crazy expensive for what he offers. He's probably a little bit overcost because, well, he's a Praetor equivalent, but he's got worse weapon skill, and he's trading it for his ability to be a bit better at casting spells. But of course, he's got some of the worst spells available to him. You really want probably something like Telepathy and Biomancy, probably some of the picks. Biomancy just to make your character more resilient, and Telepathy to actually be an effective beat stick. But overall, I quite like him, and he's much better than previous editions of Ahriman have been. Then we get to next guy along, and that's going to be Amon, famous Rat Boy here. So Rat Boy is, I don't know, I'm kind of mixed on him. He's got some pretty good things. He's got Praetor sort of stat line. You've got Relentless, you've got Infiltrate, you have the ability that when you're moving into terrain, you're going to get a 4+ Shrouding save. You have Scout. You have a 5+ Shrouded for the first couple turns of the game. All that's pretty good. His basic weapon type is going to be a Force weapon. It's going to be AP2 at initiative. He also has this interesting little one-off shooting ability called the Reliquary of Dust. And this is the sort of thing you pull off just before you charge into something in close combat that it's nasty and you might be able to win, but you want to make it pretty decisive. Because it's poisoned, it is poison 4+, it's assault 2d6, strength 1 AP dash, but rending 6+, concussive 3. So as long as you can pull off that concussive, that is going to make your job a lot easier going into the close combat. And that's probably the time I would use it. It's incredibly short ranged, only 6 inches, but his weapon itself is good. Like I said, AP2, poison 4+, reaping blow, very good in close combat. You will beat some Praetors with it, but you need to make sure you stay away from proper challenging characters. Sevatar, Causewayne, Lucius, any of those, dead. But, that can be said for 90% of characters anyway. So it kind of goes without saying. Then we're going to move on to the Primarch. So Magnus the Red is a pale shadow of his former self, and way too many points for what he brings to the table, because they don't know how psychic powers really stack up power-wise. They're still hit and miss. He comes with Adamantium Will 3+, and his Sire of the Thousand Suns will grant the +1 to your Adamantium Will. Or, if you don't have it at all, you'll get a 6+ Adamantium Will. Downside of this is, the only one who has built-in Adamantium Will, is Araman. Nobody else has an Adamantium Will except for Assyrion Dreadnoughts and for Castellix Achaia. Well, the Assyrions are Psychers and will benefit from the Adamantium Will. Unfortunately, neither of those two units are infantry, so it doesn't actually count. So, yay! And of course, Magnus himself is Primarch. So, I don't believe he actually has the infantry rule in there as a part of being Primarch, so he won't benefit from it either. So, Araman will actually have a better Adamantium Will than Magnus will. That makes sense. He has a kind of okay, kind of crappy sword. He's only strength 6. He used to be a higher strength in Heresy 1. I'm pretty sure he was strength 7. Now, his blade is fixed at strength 6. And it will go up in strength if you actually use force on it. And him, like Araman, are both excellent at killing high toughness units because of this. Araman, in fact, is actually good at killing Custos. He can instant death Custodes. Interesting fact for you. He'll just have a hard time hitting them. Magnus will do it quite handily. He will be able to instant death stuff that is toughness 6, like box dreadnoughts, for example. Very nice. But he doesn't have a lot of attacks. 6 attacks is the standard on Primarchs, and he will not be able to improve that because he has a 2-handed weapon. I guess on the charge he can improve it slightly. And his psychic powers is interesting. So he can cast any single one of the minor Cult Arcana each turn, or Cult Arcana. They're mostly crap, but there's a couple of okay ones in there, which is good. And he can also cast any other psychic power from the main rulebook, which is very nice because that's when you start looking at things like, oh, hey, Biomancy, and you make him toughness 7, strength 7 Magnus the Red. And then you cast Force and you cause instant death on Contemptor Dreadnoughts now, which is pretty funny, which I quite like. So that's definitely something you can do with him. And of course, you've got all those nasty powers in there that allow you to cause multiple wounds to enemy units. Big one, of course, being the telepathy abilities. So keep that in the back of your mind if you're going to be running Magnus. But to get your actual potential out of him as a Primarch, you really do need to be just smashing psychic powers out constantly. And that does carry a lot of risk. Previous edition, he was almost immune to suffering perils. This edition, he's actually a bit more susceptible to perils. But yeah, Thousand Suns' strength lies in their characters. Overall, they are horrible this edition because they're the only Legion that relies on having living squad sergeants to actually pull off their Legiones Astartes ability. And if they lose their squad sergeants, or heaven forbid their HQ choices, then they have no Legiones Astartes rules, period. And that is silly, but that is the way it's been written versus other legions. Because, again, not to throw too much shade out in a getting started video, but the writers don't know how to write Thousand Suns. But, give me a call. Been playing them since the mid-90s. I could probably give you some pointers, guys. Anyway, that's it for me. I hope you had fun watching this episode. Mac with the Outer Circle. And I hope to catch you all on the next one.